Hey you guys, Joe from Joe's Shop. I thought today we would look at a little problem I'm having that I thought you might be having too. My second fence is going south. It doesn't work at all like the other one does here. I'm tired of it. I thought I've got to look at why that is. And I found out what the deal was. Somebody took this apart years ago and took the ball bearing out of it and just had the set screw jammed against the metal. That didn't work so good. So I've taken the liberties of getting some stuff ready to be taken apart so I don't have to waste your time. Let's make a smooth Uni-Fence. Tap this down, get your roll pin out of here, remove your set screw, turn this whole thing upside down, get the ball bearing and the spring out of there. Then you can pull your assembly. Now, if you want your fence to work better than it ever did from new, I would say take the black steel washer that was between here, throw that out and put in a piece of nylon, or better yet, a piece of UHMW cut up as a washer, because it operates very, very smoothly. It'll never be galled and it'll always operate like butter. And that's what you guys want. All right, so right now I would surmise you have all kinds of dirt inside here and all the way around the ring and in these grooves and everything. Clean all that stuff up real nice, put it back together. A little bit of dry lube in there, nothing that'll hold sawdust. So make sure it's something that dries. Silicone, WD-40, whatever you got. Next, when you go to put this back in, you're going to have a roll pin in here that you had to pound out. I prefer, so I can do service when needed, just a simple bolt. I don't want to be banging on the fence. And next, when you put this piece on, if you want your fence to engage and disengage very easily and just really smooth, what you need to do is roll, just a little roll on these ramp angles, okay? And do both of them. One lets the fence out and one lets the fence back in smoothly, okay? So just roll those gently with something nice and fine. Make sure that that's not coarse, whatever you do that with, or it's going to still kind of lock up as it tries to feed its way into the channel. All right, next I'll put this back together and I'm going to show you the best ways to make this level and go back on and be zero backlash on your fence. Before we mount it back on your fence, I have to mention how this goes back together so that it works good for you. Okay, you need to add this ball, then add your spring. By the way, the ball is a 3/16 hardened bearing if you guys need one, because I had to take a bearing apart to make this work. And I'm thinking that's the size they use because it fits absolutely perfectly. Tighten up your spring, tighten down on your spring I should say, till it not only has a slight bit of index on it, but you want to be able to smoothly pull this in and out. Okay, if you have enough drag on it that you're sliding it across the table, you have way too much drag on it. Okay, you only need a little bit of drag on here. And then try your indexing. If you feel that's way too smooth, give it a little bit more, but don't get crazy here. This is going to heavily affect how your fence works. So this needs to be really smooth, because the weight of the handle has to want to pull this out on its own, or you'll never achieve what I'm going to show you in a little bit. So you want that smooth as silk. Okay? Now we'll have a look at mounting. Okay, now as you come back to the table to lock it back on, several things could be hindering you from having the perfect lock each time. Anytime it doesn't work really smoothly in and out like this to be locked, it's only because the carriage itself is not lined up with the slot here. So the extrusion and the carriage are off. It's probably jacked in the air or it's down too far. So it never aligns perfectly without you having to do this to it. There's no reason for that. All you have to do is adjust these two until you get about 1/8 of an inch from the left or right side as a gap. And that's a really good guess, 1/8 inch. Now, once you get this achieved where it locks just real sweet like this without hanging up, now you're set. The next thing you need to look at is how much down pressure you have. I need a little bit of this in there. If your handle doesn't just drop down instantly like that, there's too much grime and crud in here, or you've adjusted these ends so it's snugged up too far. You might want to loosen them just a little bit and give yourself a little more room. Once you've done that, so it does this here, it'll always keep all the slop out of the fence. It'll move left and right, but it won't do any skewing. So now each time you say, hey, I want 6 inches, and you go and you put it at 6 inches, it will lock in perfectly every time. It will never move a little bit. You have to have this pulling on it. The weight of the handle is pulling this pin out and causing a light load. And it works great. So once you have it skewed properly, you're happy with the fit there. You got this all nice. Next, you're going to need the table trued to the fence. So if you bring it so it's smooth to the actual dado slot or miter slot, I lock it down, and you're going to want to see just a hair of the table back here, like 5/1000ths of an inch, so that this fence is to the right very, very, very slow, or slightly, and with it being flush here. Okay? And then you have your fence adjusted right. Some people like it smooth to smooth. I've always left it just a hair off. I really believe it's a better gig. A little more open towards the back of the blade may help it from shooting at you. I think the next thing you'd have to do is make this at a 90 degree. Once again, you're going to play with these two. And after you're done and you get that 90, if you've lost your ability to do this, it's only because the carriage is now off a little bit. You're going to have to kind of start over, loosen these up a little more, or raise them up a little more. Always look from the end and see which way you really need to go. If you just start going one way and you don't really know until you go the other way, it takes a lot longer. View from the end and see where your problem really is, and you can shorten your time doing this dramatically. Okay? Hope you guys liked the video. Let me know what you think. Give me some thumbs up, and let's talk about it in the comments. You guys take care.